play whatever you want. And I was going to say, if you want something that's really tough to deal with here, you can just play something AD in the mid lane. Like, even a Scion here could actually have worked really well for them, but you are lacking some AP damage, right, in this draft. And it looks like they're going to pick up the Akali. Try to stave off that Victor pressure early because they're going to have bottom side prio is the idea. This top side matchup, we haven't seen really in the LCK. We've seen it in Challengers. We've seen it in other regions, and it's one that Gwen has done pretty well in. It's considered to be a soft counter in the matchup of the early parts, and you have tons of damage output here with good CC setup with the Wukong, Varus ultimate here for Kwangdong Freaks. And the thing that scares me the most for DRX is even though they have this 80 bot lane with support Caitlyn, the Victor push into this Akali early, Bulldog has been the best laning Victor, and he's going to have some advantages in the range versus melee early on, so put some extra pressure on Kroko here in this game, because that prio can lead to some roams bottom and some extra power for this Varus lane. Yeah. This is going to be an exciting game, and I'm finally glad that it's not just our top teams messing around with this AD support.
Yeah, I think they proved that it's doable and that it's strong in the right hands, and now we need to see if, yes, bite it. Now we need to see if some of our lower level teams can pull it off, and this could be the moment. See if it does work out. Similar position, as you mentioned, for Kroko as Klid in the last game we just had. Still looking for that first win, that one win for DRX. Did you see Grandpa Barrel there on the right? Man, that was a good one. I don't know what the hell that is.
That's a Bulldog.
Oh, it's not the Bulldog.
It's the Amumu.
Yeah, it's Cloud Templar.
Yeah, of course, the classic.
All right. I'm like, is that a zombie?
Dudu and Bulldog's laning here, super important. They will have to deal with this Caitlyn pressure and the wave clear of Sivir later on. You fall behind, either team falls behind, the snowball is real.
Tons of damage over here on the side of DRX. Let's see how it goes as we hop on the rift for game number 1. Here we go. Another Caitlyn support. He's got barrier just like Keria had. Looking to take aggressive trades early.
Notice the Hail of Blades for Taeyun with the Comet on Karma. So just going to be going for, looks like crit Varus here, but in the early laning trades, you want that extra power here too. Could end up being lethality, but very difficult with the range problem here and the wave clear you're up against, because yeah, Varus has good wave clear too, and you can queue those waves, but you're dealing with a Caitlyn queue as well as Sivir ricochets. So I actually like this variation. You get a little bit of the best of both worlds with this combination here for Taeyun and Moham. Bulldog going for Eri, as he wants to get that abuse off on this Akali early, that harassment and lane pressure. As they're going to play up in the lane to look for that first big Q.
Yeah. It's important to dodge these Mantra Qs early. Going to allow you to get a lot more lane presence. As well.
Just show up right after the wave.
Or just, you know, miss everything. Barrel is going to get flashed on, as he will have to flash away and barrier and heal, as Moham is not messing around.
Barrel taking a strange path there to avoid that damage, and then finds himself having to flash because he's on the wrong side of the lane. Halo Blades Varus at level 1, no joke. And
yeah. Comet Caitlyn too.
Yeah, Comet Caitlyn with Scorch. It's support Caitlyn, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And obviously once you get the Glaive later on, you can do a lot with this pick. I think Umbro Glaive was basically just a Senna exclusive for a really long time, but it's now that we're seeing more AD support, it's very strong, and I think the power of that item alone is what makes this really viable, because you get ahead in the lane with the extra damage, and then you get map control, and you become so oppressive.
Yeah, and it's not only that, but also support items are really, really, really strong. You just get so much value out of them.
You get money early as Kroko unseen.
Yep.
This could be a disaster.
It's not a lot of gank assist from his lane, but maybe he can do it by himself, as he is going to get on top of Taeyun here and then just attack the Moham, as he will go down. First blood, no flash on the Karma, so definitely the right call, as here comes Young Jae. It is a 2v3, and Taeyun's already getting low, so He's even going to eat a chunk here. You can see they were definitely considering going back on that one. As not going well for the Guangdong Freaks bottom lane so far.
Yeah, not so much. At least he does a ton of damage to them there. Taeyun does with that last volley. He's going to catch this wave. That's fine. And the timing of this gank for Krako is quite good. As you mentioned, target selection a little bit awkward here. Gets Taeyun first and then turns on to Moham. But with the range you have, you don't have a lot of gank assist CC-wise here. But you do have so much range that you can prioritize either of these targets and feel pretty good. Grabbing a kill there and then getting out before Youngjae comes. And there's so much damage in double AD that Youngjae is like, double buff here, level 3, but just not going to commit. Don't have any CC. So they grab Moham there. His flash is down. He's the target. Taeyun gets to keep his, luckily for him. It's not all bad.
And here's Krako again. This is what we loved out of Krako in the past. That ward misses!
This is unbelievable.
Crowd is like, oh man.
It's going to be okay. This dude is being respectful, but it could have been worse.
He could go top after this too. Yeah, here he goes. No, just kidding. Yeah, oh, wait, no. He's going to the top lane. No, just kidding. He's going back.
I mean,
oh, no, he's going back up to the top lane.
Fully stacked Q here for Dudu. Scary to fight. But he did use his Shroud, so I guess he thought, okay, maybe I've got a chance. Doesn't commit.
Krako fooling me and also himself, maybe. He got there eventually. Good job, Krako.
There's a lot of, responsibility for Krako in this game. Like we said, like the jungle matchup in these super hyper-aggressive lanes is so important. We see so much camping because of it, just like in the last series, just like in yesterday's game with T1. And Krako comes up with that first gank assist bottom. Comes topside, tries to set something up. He's lost a lot of farm because of these camps and these attempted ganks. But I think it's been well worth it for him, absolutely.
Yeah, by the way, double melee here for the Sejuani in the solo lanes. Always good to see. Crocker was mentioning that in the last game, that we did have the Sejuani for the side of... I think it was Genji. Oh, no, it's Hanwha.
Hanwha. Oh, you mean,
I
thought you meant a different day. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
That was definitely Genji earlier.
Hanwha Esports.
Or Hanwha,
yeah.
In the Genji matchup.
Yes.
You're throwing me off.
We got there. Oh, man. It's the end of the week. It's rough. Okay, the needles are going to come out here. Rascal's not level 6 yet, but he's about to get it. I mean, right? It's a massive wave. I guess he's a little bit farther than even he expected. Still taking a great trade, and he's going to hold the wave here in typical Rascal fashion. As this bottom lane is getting interesting. Barrel got low somehow, and Duckdom just going to spell shield.
Yep. See a barrel back timer here with Duckdom level 5. Not going to go for any all-ins, just going to catch this wave that Taeyun and Moham are trying to freeze here. Very annoying timer here for Duckdom. He has to walk up alone to grab what he can. The timing of that a little bit late.
Sus?
Sus. It's like we're overusing that word these days. And by we, I mean a society.
We a society.
Yeah. We live in a society, Valdez.
Yeah. There's no flash here, and there's no ghost even. He went Ignite. Dudu, I think he's just, I don't know. He doesn't have his needles. There's no way to get out of this. It's going to be 2v1s. Pretty elementary here. Rascal going to take that one down. As, yeah, the Gwen kind of getting bullied a bit. I mean, that's the second time Krako's been top.
Youngjae hasn't been topside, and he's been, surfing on the bomb side. He set up a lot of control vision, as you can see, around this Drake, because clearly Guangdong Freaks want to prioritize that. And Krako has spent a lot of time hovering that topside lane, knowing that the Gwen matchup can get out of control early too, but that was a nice gank timing. There's no needles. He comes in and gets the kill. That's an extra plate for Rascal, so there's a lot of value, plus the kill itself. And yes, they lose Dragon for this, but he feels like the self-sustainability of this bottom lane is going to be fine now, because early kill for Barrel, 2 ADs with good wave clear and long range. He doesn't want to spend more time bound bottom side, because this lane just takes care of itself at this point. We'll lose the Drake, but that top gank, I think, arguably much more valuable. And now he's coming down here with 6.
Yeah, now they can easily make plays happen. Both junglers going to be level 6. And they do spot each other here in the jungle. There is wardage here for DRX and also traps that can be placed.
turret the great equalizer here for Guangdong Freaks in this exchange, so Duck Dom and Barrel not going to force that dive with Croco here. Wanted to maybe set something up in that brush for the ward fight, but Croco can't stay forever, so they will lose that ward. And it actually ends up being a pretty passive time here in the bottom side. As
yeah, they both just clear the wave and just avoid each other.
Yeah.
It's like not playing League of Legends.
One minion. Can they get the plate? No. Barrel's like, I'm trying to tank it for you to get that plate. No, you have to wait for the next wave. They do back, though, so they will get it. And yeah, it's been otherwise a pretty timid early game here. We've seen, obviously, a lot of Bulldog bullying in the mid lane. Picked up his Catalyst early. And this has kind of been shoving Fate in, but Fate's dealt with the pressure decently well. How many plates will they get bottom side? I think just the one.
Might be 2 here.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, a couple of ADs that don't back. 2 plates. Very nicely done. This is exactly what you're looking for. And it's now Croco. Yeah. Making his way bot, and maybe Fate will as well. This is telegraphed from Fate, at least. And so Moham and Taeyoon just going to say, well, I'm going to back, and that means more free plates.
Exactly. Look at where Rascal is on the map, because he knows that, okay, maybe Croco is down there and Youngjae comes up for me, and something happens topside. I'm just going to let this wave push through. Guarantee plates. No punish.
Well, yeah. They kept the ward alive. Nice. Better than missing and not keeping the ward alive, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, just using the timing when Youngjae's not there and you get a push in mid, like the one prio push when they go to the Rift Herald. It's really nice map play here from DRX. And they're playing to their advantages very, very well. I think Croco's done a great job really in this game.
Oh, they're going to drop down this Herald. Croco has the roam down from or from Fate, excuse me, here to try to punish this, but Wukong should be able to escort them out. Some plate gold does go over with the charge.
I think they denied it from Taeyoon, though. So
yeah, I think you're right.
That's pretty nice.
So, those, okay, at this point, like, this is actually viable. I know a lot of people are like, if your name isn't Carria, you can't do this, but...
Well, the Callista made...
I just want to tell everyone, if you do this, because I know if I tell you not to, some of you will anyways, hold on.
Yeah, they're just too far up the lane with no wards here, as we do have the Wukong, though, coming in, and maybe Croco just overstayed his welcome. They're not able to take down Boham in time, as the kiting will begin, but yeah, just the karma. Surprisingly tanky. Yeah, surprisingly tanky, and Wukong is some of the best defensive jungle shadowing you're ever going to get here on the bottom side. He's just camping down here to block that gank, and he can come in from so far away and set up with Flash and his Warriors Fixer. Nice knockups with the Cyclone. Barrel going to deny it back here with that ward. Seemed pretty obvious. Looked like Youngjae was like, I just hope he doesn't, but he does. You can tell like how he's moving. He's like, try to move, and he's like, just hope he doesn't shoot me. He did. But that's an early kill here. Now to the Varus, after what looked like a potential kill coming over to the side of DRX with that faster gank from Croco, but Youngjae babysits, and this does work out. I mean, this is extremely far ahead, but your karma, right? And you shield through all this. Really good flash as well. Mantra W.
Mantra W.
Change.
Speedy. And the Youngjae gets the extra knockups here, forces them to kite back. Barrel takes a ton of damage, so can't trade further forward. That's going to be an exchange of plates. But what I was going to say is, if you do try this Caitlyn support at home, don't build Gale Force or whatever the recommended items tells you to build, because it's confused and doesn't know. And also, please buy the support item. This is not just a, oh, cool, I get to play AD carry and get a faster Q. No. Buy the support item, and then buy Umbral.
Oh, angle a little bit off there. Nice try from Rascal. Needles were available. I think there was a chance for Dudu to even win that fight, but either way.
Yeah. Fortunate, but not too impactful in the grand scheme of things. Barrel takes a huge man from Q.
Oh, Youngjae's in a lot of trouble. Has the Cyclone here, but we got the second part of the ult, and that is enough damage. Fate clean, as Youngjae kind of just ran right into him without vision.
They wanted this Drake. There's so much vision set up here for DRX to trap him there, and you could see that Moham was hoping, okay, we're going to actually collapse here and force this fight. I got a huge mantra Q, and if Youngjae gets in here, we lock them down and kind of cut off the retreat, but they lose out big. And Kraken Slayer's done. Big spike for the Sivir. this is a scary place to be. Feel safe out of this turret, but are you really?
Infernal Soul. So we had 2 Chemtechs, and now we have 2 Infernals. 2 Infernal Souls. And that's going to be massive for both teams.
Yes.
Both teams are desperate for those Drakes. As many of them as possible. Yes, please, they say. As Bulldog might be forced to flash here, there is a lot of damage and a trap. Can he even flash? Okay, he will. And Barrel's just going to die. Eats a turret shot, and Bulldog's like, yep, that's for me. Thank you very much.
Really overstepping his bounds there. He crossed a line.
How did the trap not get Bulldog? I'm curious.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that again. Looks like he didn't quite step on the hitbox of it completely there.
Maybe, yeah, I guess. Because they're on the ground.
Yeah.
You see it on the minimap, it just disappeared.
It's very bizarre. So this is the catch onto Youngjae. Fate's got this set up. If the Warrior's Trickster blocks that, then he actually doesn't get this kill, but unfortunately a little bit late on that one, and Fate picks it up. So watch this one more time as Bulldog gets hit.
Getting the zoom in. Oh, the trap! What is that?
Oh, it's just too low.
It was like to the right of him.
Yeah, it was like not even close actually. That second.
Oh, here comes Fate. He's like, I heard you talking about me. Both Fate and Kroko really stepped it up. This is really good to see from DRX. They look like a whole new team.
They really do, and obviously we saw this step up from Klid in the previous series too. I think teams are finally figuring out what the jungle role is supposed to do in these comps a lot better, and being where they need to be. Like, sometimes players, I think, are criticized for their pathing, and never going to get them to make a narrative point in this game because Kroko's just doing Kroko things. Or they making it look like he might.
He's listening to Kwangdong and fighting it. Excellent, excellent motto.
But sometimes when teams don't fully understand the meta, junglers are the first ones to show those signs of the suffering, because you can pick the same champions as a team, but if you don't use them...
Polly's coming over. I'm not sure about this one for Kwangdong, but Bulldog in position, and in fact they will force Kroko to flash the wall.
No. They're going to look for the Rift Herald now. Taeyun rotates over. And, I mean, this is matched by Sivir. This is a really tough fight.
Barrel going to get stunned up. The Sedge ult does come out as Fate is way in the back line. He's looking for Mohawk. Nearly takes him out, but he was kind of alone. And now the Needle's going to be pushed forward in the forest. Taeyun just executes him there. And DRX a little bit lackluster on getting into that fight, and Kwangdong take him down.
Yeah, and DRX decide to come to the fight despite that damage that happened in that early exchange with Youngjae. And when Taeyun rotated up first, I think there could have been a call from Duckdom to stay bottom, and with being Sivir, push that wave into the turret and try to do some extra damage there. We're past plates for sure. Definitely not the right call here as Fate finds Moham, decides to delete him. Very nicely played. Even with the root coming through, still gets all the damage off first. And then Barrel takes a ton of damage here. Kroko's half health, and Fate wants to get to the back line. But Sivir isn't here. Taeyun shows up, and you know Taeyun is going to be here faster, and they still hard commit to this without the tools necessary to actually win it. Just a really peculiar macro decision here from DRX. They come up empty, give a lot of gold over.
Yeah, and Fate went really deep to try to kill the Karma, which he did not even do. So definitely kind of a lot of damage that could have been used and potentially in a better spot. But either way, didn't amount to too much as... Now, looks like with the Infernal coming up in a minute, I talked about how both teams are going to love this one. You see that DRX are already trying to set up for this.
The wave clear battle in mid
happening. Glaive as well.
Yeah, Umbra Glaive, as we talked about earlier, that's what you buy, that's what you build. Don't buy Gale Force or whatever the item thing tells you to do. Don't do that.
Rabadon's Death Cap.
Because this item is what allows this to happen. Barrel can have so much vision control with his ward here, control ward in the brush. Can check the brush to the left as he has, so they have 2 control wards there, a ward in this brush, and can rotate back towards the Drake with full information. No one knows where Fate is because of these control wards.
Yeah. I mean, look at the vision for Kwangdong. It's like they have a blindfold on, like they have no idea where they're going. They see Kroko in front of them, and immediately it's like, oh, there's Fate in the back line as Youngjae again gonna get super low. This time he will survive though, as the chains come in. Fade not necessarily going to go down, though, and they do push the enemy jungler out of this one.
Bulldog now, unfortunately, all alone. He gets caught by Rascal on the TP.
Yeah, he's going to be pushed farther by Rascal, and now Dudu's here. And the needles are coming out, so Rascal is just kind of dead meat, although he is still on the run, and he's getting out of here. Everybody just refusing to die in this fight.
Scrappy game here, Valdez, to start us off here. Support Caitlyn. We're going into game one. Lots of action. It doesn't stop. Nobody dies in this exchange. I thought after getting Youngjae to use his ultimate, DRX would then back off towards the Drake, because that in itself is a win alone. You can win the fight without that Wukong ultimate. It's hard for him to contest for smites, but they decide to push it further. Nobody dies, but with the wave clear and the setup they have here mid, they take the turret out and rotate back to the Drake anyways, even though it did look like a major overextension. Rascal almost goes down. Yeah. It's a trade of turrets because Dudu does take that bottom one, but he cannot alone with without the rest of his team actually come over here and stop this Drake take. So DRX will take their second of the game.
Yeah, very nicely done. They push out Youngjae again after he comes back out onto the map, and Infernal is going to be lovely. They're immediately going to feel this, and it's only going to get better as the game does come along. Let's take another look at all of this scrapping.
Yeah, Youngjae here drops this Herald. I think it's getting very close to timing out, so wants to try to force this one in right before Drake, and then gets collapsed on. And the moment that he ulted was probably good enough, right? You could back away. They end up getting caught by that second part of his ultimate here. Fate takes a ton of damage, and Moam almost gets the root onto him. And then they commit heavily to Bulldog here. As in live, I got scared something was going to happen all in wise bottom side. It's just going to be a turret.
It's just Cassante.
It's caught by the TP.
Okay, well, it's Beryl. It's support Caitlyn getting bullied by Youngjae, and Rascal nearly died on the bottom side of the map. So we didn't get to see all the scrapping.
With all of these long, crazy fights that are happening on Saw, I'm gonna have to ask a favor, production. We don't watch any more replays because we're gonna keep an eye on what's happening in the now. They don't listen to what I say, but it's okay. We got to see it, the last replay in its full glory, and we'll get to see what happened at the beginning of what we missed there in just a moment of the pick there onto the Caitlyn. As obviously Youngjae finds him out and has Cyclone. Caitlyn doesn't have any way to protect herself in that moment. Dies. It's a back and forth little scrappy one. I think the ultimate goal of these teams is going to be like scaling aside, wave clear aside, Akali aside. It's going to be who wins that fight on the Elder Soul, or the not the Elder, sorry, the Infernal Soul.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's really what the deciding point is going to be in this game, because this has not been a clean game. We're not talking about macro. A lot of the time, there's a fully empty lane. But when you go into these zoomed-in plays, it's individual players making heroic plays, like Youngjae catching Beryl there, like Fate catching Youngjae previously, catching Moham and trying to take him out.
Yeah. This Gwen is going to be interesting. We haven't seen a Gwen in a long time, but you know, you talked about the scaling. That's actually eventually going to be somewhat difficult to handle in the side lane. We'll be curious to see if they pit Fate into the into the Gwen, because that used to be a big counter matchup, right? A lot of Akali top against Gwen when she was popular, and that might be the answer here for DRX.
Group around Baron right now for Vision. Fate's going to clear this one out. They have a big rotation up with Beryl. Croc on the edge.
Man, Youngjae has taken so much damage in this game. He is just being bullied. He's trying to get it back into Fate, who is nearly burning down, and Youngjae lives again as the chains come out. And once again, Beryl is going to be just burned down. Duckdom has to flash away as Bulldog's presence already being felt, and he just hit his 10th stack of the Rod of Ages.
This support Caitlyn has not been able to find anything outside of lane. And even the laning phase wasn't perfect. There were definitely some shaky moments there, but the Karma is always going to be value for her speed ups, for her extra damage. Her utility is immense. And what Caitlyn has been able to do this game outside of lane is trying to clear wards. And every time Beryl is trying to get Umbral Glaive value, he's punished. This is that replay we were talking about we missed the beginning of. We know the full story now. Trying to clear vision around Baron with that Umbral Glaive is punished. Doesn't have any escape, doesn't have any sustainability. And the team fight here for Kwangdong Freaks, because this Caitlyn doesn't offer any utility outside of a little bit of damage, like literally isn't doing anything here, whereas Moham is doing a lot, is the big difference maker. And obviously this comp for Quantum Freaks with the Victor has more sustained damage than the Akali, who tries to punish there with Croco and is instantly shoved out of the fight.
Yeah.
Victor being the real difference maker on top of the extra karma, movement speed, shielding, etc. The Shirelias he has built. And if you're ahead, this Umbral Glaive feels great, but when you're clearing one ward behind the Baron Pit and that's your role,
and you die,
it feels like a 5v4 game.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's certainly been rough for Beryl because if he gets caught, he is just definitely dead. Kind of reminds me of Life playing Ashe in the first series. And yeah, I mean, that's going to be the case, especially before Duck Dom gets online, which, by the way, I mean, it's getting closer and closer. He's almost on his IE. But before that really happens, before he spikes, it's rough for DRX to win these fights, especially when they're throwing everything into a Merc Treads Wukong. It's just like, okay, I mean,
he also,
even if you kill me, I get Cyclone value, and I have a lot of armor in my kit, and okay, sure.
Taeyun has gone for lethality, actually. We thought maybe he wouldn't have because he went for the Halo Blades lane. And we thought, oh, okay, that's partially due to the crit.
There's something lurking in the shadows, Wolf, and unfortunately, Duck Dom is going to be the target, as he does not have any way to get out of this. He does not have flash. A fantastic flank comes out from Youngjae playing around the vision, and Kwangdong are beginning to get this avalanche going.
Can't spell Shield Wukong. It's not going to happen. It's going to get knocked up repeatedly twice there from the R2 as well, who catches him in the end, and I believe it's even Spate who commits to killing him at the end of it. So Duck Dom picked here, and that's going to be Kwangdong Freaks taking their first Infernal of the game here with a really nice Wukong flank. And you're trying so desperately to clear vision as DRX use that Umbral Glaive in any way possible around these objectives, but you don't have actually safe defensive vision around your jungle.
Okay, Taeyun a little bit far up the lane as a little stun goes in, but that's 750 gold onto the Akali. Definitely not what you want to see if you are on the side of Kwangdong Freaks.
That Sandbox Bro series yesterday is like the anti this series, where nothing happens and everyone's timid, whereas in this series, everything happens all the time and it doesn't stop happening ever.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Still haven't seen that yet. I've heard say a lot of awards. Duck Dom's not winning any awards for this retreat here through the choke point, where he's caught by Youngjae and picked off. Youngjae might get one though. He's had a good game. As then Taeyun on Varus with no support and no vision here in the river is going to get punished for his transgression. Sad times. Good flash. Good flash attempt, but like he gets caught by the 5-point strike there over the wall.
Yeah. He does have teleport, by the way. I think, I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but
I think you did when we were talking about the lanes at first.
Not sure. I don't think so, but either way, he does have teleport.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that Bulldog does not. He actually has Ghost. So they still have 2 teleport, but one of them is an AD carry, which is not who you're going to have in a side lane pushing. Just something to mention. It might become relevant as this game reaches this stage. Dudu, slowly but surely, becoming a big menace in the side lane.
Level 16. Rascal here, going to try to match him. Has his Sunfire and an Aegis alongside it here, so a lot of resistance is built up, but a longer fight can have a lot of problems here alone in this matchup. Looks like Fate wants to come over here and help set up a big gank assist, or rather just a gank straight up. And I think Dudu's really got a good idea, like, I'm just going to back away, this seems sus. The Akali is not showing on the map anywhere at all.
Well, now she is.
But Dudu is just like, Dudu read this play so well. The team is calming. Where's Akali? Where's Akali? Where's Akali? Watch out, watch out, watch out. You can beat this Cassante, but not with an Akali also on top of you. And he pushes back to his turret, hides there, and sees him at the last possible second, but he seemed very aware the entire time of where Fate could have potentially been, showing a lot of respect, so no punish play coming through. DRX tried to use that pressure to now group up around Baron. And it's a wave clear battle in mid.
Yep, definitely a little bit of that, as Beryl has not been having fun with these gravity wells. It's just been kind of targeted every single time. Croco, quite tanky himself. He has stacked a lot of health, as you do. Sejuani working towards that Warmogs. Is Duck Dom actually going to go for the very quick blades here?
Yeah. obviously a lot more. There's a lot of value out of it with your cooldowns, and I think it's a good choice. It's very meta right now in a lot of scaling AD carries, both the Sivir and the Zeri building this very commonly right now. And there's, I mean, in terms of commentating this game in a way where we talk about win conditions and stuff like that, I've been trying to do it a little bit, but I've kind of realized that this game is really just going to be about the clutch factor. It's going to be about who makes the snap call in the right moment, somebody gets picked, and then the decisive follow-up objective. That's what this game is going to be about. It doesn't have to be, but based on what I'm seeing so far, that's my new analysis, that's my new prediction. And
clutch factor.
The clutch factor, right? And who has vision and who has an advantage going into that? Because you have this deadly Akali, who's now level 16, zooming around the map, can assassinate so many targets in this game, can help Rascal in a side lane, a big threat. And if they don't know where he is, that is a huge problem. And Beryl is trying his best with this Armorglaive. We criticized some of his plays earlier, but I mean, he's got 123 ward score for a reason. He is really keeping the vision down, which gives this Akali a little bit more power.
He's doing a good job as... Let's see, this Infernal Drake coming up in 45 seconds, and this time it's Kwangdong on the front foot, trying to clear out vision, trying to steal blue buffs. Bulldog is going to get blue buff. That's actually huge. And yes, Taeyun is incredibly fed, and especially if you're hitting 280 carries, that's even more squishiness that you get to just essentially lay into with your lethality builds. Definitely Krako's not really the guy.
The vision line here is amazing for Kwangdong Freak's 3 control words. Fate is seen. They can just kind of operate around this brush and then chase towards DRX, making it virtually impossible to start Baron. The Caitlyn wall is also set, so a wall of control words and a wall of Caitlyn traps on either side. The DMC is this mid lane.
Yeah. Absolutely, and well, Kwangdong Freaks just gonna push out the wave. There they go, they find Beryl once again, but he will live, and Rascal also gonna get caught by Young Jae, getting extremely low, and Fate hasn't even gone in yet. He's got that shuriken onto Taeyun as well, immediately goes into the stopwatch. This could be his time. No, he's just gonna get stunned up immediately, but Duck Dom in the back line trying to help out, and Bulldog is going insane mode on that back line. He's just gonna kill one AD carry, zone the other, and now he's the front line essentially as he just kind of sprints at them.
I mean, Bulldog is so late into this game now. He's 17. He's actually fairly difficult to kill even versus an Akali. He has those extra stats from the Rod of Ages. He nearly has a death cap, and we'll be able to buy it probably on this next back. But he's the main source of damage here in these longer fights, and he's well set up by the damage that comes out from Taeyun with that lethality, with that poke into these fights. As long as he's hitting the shots, which he is very consistently doing, it's really difficult for DRX to win these longer fights. Akali needs to assassinate somebody, or Duck Dom needs to have the agency to pop off, but even he is getting blocked out. And yeah, the fight looks like it might be turned here really well by DRX because Beryl lives and Youngjae is out of the fight without Cyclone. But there's a damage problem here. There's just not enough damage. Fate's stuck in Zonius, doesn't get the execution. And then Taeyun, yeah, look at all the damage on him, but look at Bulldog, 1v4 basically, no frontline for him. He's fighting 2 people, and they can't kill anybody. They can't kill the bars, they can't commit further because Bulldog's damage is the tank, if you see what I'm saying.
Exactly. That's what I was saying as well. I mean, he's just like literally sprinting at them, and the other team is like, well, we can't go through him. Like,
can't
what are we
go through
gonna
that
do?
damage. He just zones you out.
What are they gonna do? He's got like a massive Q shield. He has damage that will 2-shot you. You can't get through that. You need CC to basically lock him down, but with the big committal into the backline, that didn't pay off. It felt like they were doomed from there.
It's up to Fate to carry this game. If he cannot get the damage done, if he cannot execute someone,
oh boy. Bulldog is so aggressive on
he's huge on this Victor, man.
It's so fun to watch him play Victor.
It really is. In the laning phase is where we've been most impressed, but outside of lane in his games, he's looked pretty good too. In this game, he rules the Rift.
Yeah. I mean, Chronicler was hyping this guy up for a reason, and now he's in the LCK. And now he is bopping some heads. Just needs a little bit of help from his team, you know. Can't do it all by himself.
Beryl taking a little bit of damage here. Support battle.
And they got out of there.
Got the Shirelias.
Karma offers so much speed to the composition, something you mentioned before. That amount of utility is very, very nice.
DRX are losing out to the poke war. So every time they try to group like this, they're eventually losing to the Victor poke.
You have to engage. It's lethality virus Victor. Otherwise, you're going to sit here and lose. And that's kind of what's going on. They're being zoned away now as Krako's ult hit the Karma, and nobody followed up.
That's turret.
Yep, this turret going down here.
Uh-oh, some people are trapped now.
Dudu's got the mist as well, and now Beryl can't get out. Kasante here, Rascal trying to frontline, and Fade is all alone. He's just going to get needled down, as well as an arrow from Taeyun. And this has fallen apart very quickly for the side of DRX. Kwangdong are kind of bullying them as Bulldog is in the front line once again, and Duckdom this time actually will be able to tear through him a little bit there. Nearly takes down Youngjae.
Really critical they stop the Baron here, and they're going to try to take this mid push through as well, but I don't know how much value you're going to get out of that one. At least that you stop the Baron and stop these backs, those Kroko. They're going to try to turn this Baron into their opportunity here. This is a crazy game, Valdez. Teleport through from Rascal. He's going to zone them away. They have a lot of damage, but they don't have a lot of control. As Kwangdong Freaks have a chance to back here and then return. The timing window is very thin, and they have to be super decisive. Caitlyn not here, but arguably a lower part of their damage. Crockwood is going to try to hold this doorway.
Yeah. Kasante tank, Duckdom damage. Let's see if it's enough. Youngjae is getting close, but the zoning you mentioned should be good enough, especially with the traps now that Beryl is here.
No ult for Youngjae until just now.
Actually took them quite a while to get this down, but it looks like they should be able to. Youngjae getting close, but not quite in time to take the potential steal.
That was a really decisive call for DRX. Grabbing the teleport, controlling vision very quickly, removing all of that, and then holding the choke point there, making Duckdom's damage the fountain laser they needed to rip through the Baron. As this is the poke war where DRX are just operating around Caitlyn traps in the Fate flank where they know where Fate is. So it's like, well, I'm just going to keep Varus queuing you, and Victor's going to keep E-ing, and those death rays are going to stack up, they're going to add up, and then DRX eventually just really loses control of this fight, and Fate is trying to take the longest flank angle possible, but he just can't find one here. And Kwangdong Freaks commit in. As in live,
Infernal Drakes still being stacked. Trying to be stacked, but yeah, this stoppage here, essentially, you know, good positioning, frontlining by Rascal and then Duckdom to get in, means that they are able to stop it.
Pulling them off the Baron is massive here, then they get to take it themselves with a decisive teleport call. Now they have Baron buff to escort waves for this 6th Drake of the game, their sole point, to tie us up. Fate is not here at all, even slightly, by the way.
Man, Rascal takes like no damage, but Bulldog will try. It doesn't matter. He will try his hardest. Very big, consistent damage. He's even going to hit Rascal again. They do have to get into position for this Drake. I mean, these Infernals are big. It's Infernal Soul for Kwangdong as well. It's Fate trying to zone them. Looks like they're just going to give it away. Kwangdong a little bit of hesitation, and now Bulldog's all alone. Can he get out of this one? Doesn't look likely, as he will be left to the dogs. Taken down by Rascal. And now they're still on the chase. And, yep, Dudu's alone as well. The needle's not enough. Neither is the snip.
That's not going to save you.
Huh.
We'll buy some time.
Kind of just fell apart.
Yeah, well, I mean, the flank angle from Rascal was, or rather from Fate, was really. I'm used to Rascal being the Akali guy in the Gwen game.
Yeah.
But the flank angle from Fate was actually really good, and he was always going to be able to execute any target on the left side who got caught. And he was hoping for, after Youngjae took that big poke damage, to force Youngjae to ult early so that he couldn't actually come in for the Drake contest. And at that moment, Kwangdong was like, we're out. There's no way we can fight this anymore. Fate's on the flank. And then Bulldog, I think, maybe got a wrong call and pushed in, and then he was left alone. Just a really disjointed game, honestly, from both teams in quite a few ways, but you can see the ideas here behind this setup. As Youngjae takes a lot of damage, and you can see that Fate wants to come in and force him to ult. Bulldog is left on his own. They commit in, and there's nothing Kwangdong can do except try to chip away at these members who chase. And even that is a bridge too far, as Dudu will also go down to allow the retreat. Doesn't get the kill on the Rascal that he wants. Sad stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, the Gwen was an interesting pick. I thought we were going to see a bit more side lane pressure, but just grouping up for all these fights because all these Infernal Drakes are just so important. can't really just let DRX get them for free, although what they did was arguably worse, I guess. But next one's the big one, 7 Elemental Drakes.
The funny thing about this fight is if Kwangdong had won it, if DRX had not played it so well, that to have Infernal Soul in this game might just be over. If Kwangdong win the game and grab it, is 30,000 and 26,000. They're topping the damage, unsurprisingly, with their poke in these poke wars. But if Kwangdong Freaks grab that and win the fight, the game might just be over. But because DRX get it, it's still just anyone's game to take. One team fight, one decisive team fight ends this game.
Yeah,
and both it's going to happen in 2
have 2 Infernal Drakes and insane amounts of damage, like both sides. It's so crazy. I love it.
Beryl, we talked about how he hasn't had that much utility in this game outside of clearing wards, but his trap placement has started to become pretty useful when DRX have control. When they do not, it's like, whatever, you're just going to lose the poke war. Their traps don't stop the Varus poke, they don't stop the Victor poke, but when you're ahead, you can stop flank angles from Dudu here. You can do a lot with those traps, and he is.
Duckdom on the hunt to run away from Bulldog's Chaos Storm, and
here's
finally,
some side laning.
Nice.
2 minutes before the objective, he's got 2 minutes of side lane.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, he should be able to pressure that turret. Okay. No?
He's going to get a Gromp. It's all right.
Nice. Took out the Gromp.
Doesn't know where Rascal, or I keep saying Rascal instead of Fate for the Akali. It's just my brain sees Akali, Gwen, and associates. But yeah, he doesn't know where Fate is. And Rascal shows up, so he does back away there. Knows that the turret's very healthy. If it was at half health, he might try to chop it down and then zoom away, but does not find the kill there on that one, as we're just kind of holding out till that objective. Big lull state here.
Person who's got the most gold in the game is actually Duckdom. He's up to 400 CS, basically. And the itemization choices have been interesting as well. No IE.
So,
just going for Hex Drinker, trying to survive against Victor.
Kwangdong have to push through these super minions and go through this wide river entrance. The choke points here are set up by Beryl with Caitlyn traps, making it very difficult to operate around this as the Baron spawns in 20 seconds. DRX having some extra freedom to put Fate in the side lane there and have a flank angle setup because of those super minions.
The flank ankle.
The flank ankle, man.
You never know when you're going to get flanked by an ankle. Be careful. Those ankles are hunting out there. Anyway, what were you saying?
It's really difficult for Kwangdong to contest Baron Vision because of those traps, because of the super minions. And finally, Youngjae gets around.
Yeah.
He's got a controller to play around. They don't see where he is. This could actually be a huge opportunity for Kwangdong. Took a long time, a lot of patience, but finally, they got into mid, and maybe they could go to the mouth of the river here. But now you can go, okay, are we trading objectives? 15 seconds on Infernal Soul. Way more important than Baron, I think, in this case.
I think this time around, absolutely. Youngjae on the side there, Fate looking for his angle. Bulldog actually taking a big chunk from the Akali. But Fate will not have access to him with that R2. It's just going to R2 to the back of the wave.
Beryl wants one more trap. These are fading away, resets it there. Closing the door, Youngjae wants to find an angle here.
They're taking a little bit of damage. Rascal is incredibly tanky at this point in the game, as is Crocto. They've got some really nice flank angles, and Kwangdong Freaks just gonna press their buttons and try to get into that backline. Duckdom and Barrow will be zoned for a while as Taeyeon is just... What was that? He just charged Barrel and died immediately. Unfortunately for Kwangdong, that was not handled very well. DRX are going to just slap him down and should be able to take the game now.
Barrel's trap placement, the faster setup here, and those super minions, they staved pressure on Baron, because I think that's the one fight Kwangdong could take because there's multiple entry points, even with the traps there. They bought enough time for the Drake to spawn, then kited back towards it, and the desperation was real for Kwangdong Freaks. They panicked, they dove in with the Wukong, who instantly died, and this is the end of the game.
Dudu?
I think. I think.
Dudu's like a raid boss? Okay, there you go. Gotta wait for Sivir to actually attack her. And down will go the Nexus. 42 minutes, DRX able to get it done. Took them a while, but eventually their AD carry got online.
You could see the exhaustion in these players' faces because it was a real war of attrition. Lots of poke wars, very slow setups, because it was on a knife's edge the whole time. With that amount of damage, that amount of engage, and big damage, You make one mistake on either side, you're going to lose the game. And they were the more decisive team at getting that mid inhibitor, using the super minions to control both objectives at once, and then forcing Youngjae into an awkward choke. Big mistake there from Taeyun at the end, but we'll let it go because it was really just brilliant positioning there for the side of DRX that wins them the game in the end. I'm going to pick POG, and it's a tough one for me to be.
Hey, DRX fighting. Nice. Nicely done. And yeah, I think there is a lot to talk about on both sides. No doubt, CV Max will have a lot to say, as he always does. But even on the DRX side, there's a lot to go over. I think there were definitely ways to play this out better. And to kind of get there in a smoother fashion.
Yeah, it's a game that